What's going on, everyone? Evan here from Yet Another Productions, and today we will be discussing the who, what, why, when, where of poly versus solid subframe bushings. Before we dive into this breakdown between poly versus solid subframe bushings, please subscribe to the channel, give us a like, throw us a comment down below. This is a fresh, brand new channel. I'm always looking to improve the channel. Anything I missed, any facts that I left out, maybe any facts I made up, I don't know. Please just let me know. I do want to improve the channel. I do want to give you guys better content, valuable content. So any constructive criticism is accepted. Now let's begin. Yeah. Hey, go ahead, just cue the intro right now. Drop it okay. Let's be honest, who am I kidding here? I don't even have an intro yet to my channel. I do apologize. Moving on. Okay, poly versus solid subframe bushings. What should you choose? And the answer is yes. Listen, the bushings are the direct attach point between the subframe and the frame of the car. So if we think about it in physics terms, all the energy transferred from any input, whether it's acceleration, deceleration, or turning in any direction, the energy is going to be transferred through the chassis, through the subframe, and eventually make its way to the pavement. So it's very critical that we do make the right decision here. So which one do we pick? Poly or solid? Well, that really depends on you. What kind of driving are you going to be doing? Is it mostly day-to-day, through the city, on the way to work kind of driving? Maybe see the track once every couple months, maybe a handful times out of the year? Or do you see yourself going to the track every few weeks, maybe twice a month? Are you going to really be diving deep into the track events, into drift events? These are questions that you need to ask yourself. So let's just discuss the basic characteristics of each. Polyurethane. It's essentially a very strong plastic with usually a metal insert in the center that the attached hardware will then sit inside of. A solid subframe bushing is pretty self-explanatory. It's usually made of a single piece of metal, probably aluminum. That's what mine were made of, and that was the choice that I made. I did receive a lot of slack when posting the fact that I had decided to go with solid subframe bushings on my Instagram and Facebook. Everyone was giving me hell, saying I'm not going to like it, it's going to be the worst decision I ever made. They're probably assuming that I'm going to be driving this car somewhat on the road and somewhat on the track, which is incorrect. This car, I'm fortunate enough to have a second car, which any of you who have project cars out there should also be very thankful. But this being my second car and it's a project car, I have dedicated it to being strictly track focused. That's what I want to get out of this. Fast lap times. I got a bunch of friends at work, like I've mentioned on my previous videos, that go to the track all the time, and I am very eager to get out there. And as a matter of fact, I just received a notification a few days ago from a friend at work. We do have a track event coming up at Willow Springs, November 13th, so I'm out here rushing, trying to get this project at least driving, because currently it is tore apart. Back to the topic at hand. So no one liked my decision. I'm going solids. Sorry, it's my choice. It's also your choice, and you should make the decision based on what kind of driving you're doing. Anything more than 5 to 10% of your total driving time on regular street surface roads, I would probably go polyurethane. Let's face it, it absorbs energy a lot better than a solid subframe bushing would any day of the week. As the energy is transferred from the chassis through the subframe bushing, having polyurethane bushings absorb some of that energy dampens the effects of uneven or bumpy surface roads. This will translate to a more comfortable ride. So, which one are you choosing? Solid or poly? I'll go back to it. I went with solid. Let's talk a little bit about easeability of installation. On my project car, I dropped the rear subframe. It still had all of the stock bushings at not only the subframe, but also on the knuckle. I did end up buying polyurethane bushings for my knuckle and lower control arm attach points. This was because I honestly don't even know if they make solid bushings for those points. Regardless, I had the opportunity to experience installing both solid and polyurethane bushings. Installing the poly bushings in the knuckles was quite easy. Required a bunch of lube that they provide you. You just lather everything up, you get your impact gun, you get a long threaded bolt with some washers and a few hits with the gun, and they slide right in. The solids, on the other hand, at the four corners of the subframe, well, that was a different story. That took quite a bit of effort to get those installed. Of course, you do have to remove the inner sleeve that was a part of the original design. That was also a headache. That requires cutting, which you will eventually cut into the subframe, which you're going to need to file down and paint and make sure you don't allow any corrosion. So, with that being said, anything to do with solids is already a much more involved process. The polys, on the other hand, real quick. So, if you're at the point of dropping the subframe and replacing the bushings, and you're looking to maintain a comfortable ride and yet still achieve better driving characteristics, then sure, polyurethane is the best choice. But like me, if your goal is to just get fast lap times at the track, or if you're going to be doing drift events, I would go solid. Solid is a much more robust, rigid, and straight to the point modification for your subframe and suspension. Anyway, y'all, I appreciate you for tuning in, and I will see you guys on the next breakdown.